The long-awaited reunions for Lucy and the Ghoul are almost here in Fallout Season 2. Welcome back, ScreenCrush. I'm Ryan Airy, filling in for Colton Ogburn, and here's all the Easter eggs, references, and little things you might have missed in Episode 6 of Fallout Season 2. We are finally learning a little bit more about Barb before the apocalypse. So the episode opens with a mushroom cloud in Barb's eye, which mirrors the ending of this scene. She sits through each presentation with visible anxiety. Barb is sickened by Vault-Tec's lack of empathy. The first presenters show her the mushroom cloud. One of them says,
"It'll be multiple 5 megaton blasts."
Which is true. The first episode last season shows multiple 5 megaton blasts, which Cooper and Janie rode away from on horseback. We assumed that Janie died there and Cooper became the Ghoul, but last episode we learned that Janie is in a cryopod, so we might see Cooper's farewell through flashbacks soon. The next question is, why didn't Cooper get into a cryopod? Was it out of protest, or did Barb betray him? The second presenter talks about faulty water chips. He tries to compromise by saying they'll know which chips will break, but he's incapable of fixing them. This is the same problem in Vault 33, the one that Hank is in charge of. Either Barb decided the Vault 33 experiment wasn't worthy, or she randomly assigned the faulty water chips. This water chip prototype is a reference to the main quest from Fallout 1. The prototype looks similar to the water chip in the game, which the player has to find and give to the Vault 13 overseer. Next, Bud suggests that they offer a special freeway for premium members once the bombs start to drop, demonstrating once again how completely psychotic Bud Askins is. The final presenter is the fake Mr. House. He informs Barb that Vault-Tec is giving cold fusion to Robco. She gets more nervous when he says,
"I'd be above your pay grade."
As if she's pained by the unknown. The project he's working on probably has to do with what he said last episode.
It will allow me to stay alive indefinitely.
Now in the games, Mr. House preserved himself inside of his computer. Most probably, TV show Mr. House has the same fate.
But he needed that cold fusion doodad from before the war. Didn't you have something to do with all that?
The fake Robert House unveils the Automated Man, which is the mind control technology that Hank gets his hands on in the future. Now he leans in close here, showing that he was fascinated by Mr. House's inventions even before the Great War, and he was able to manipulate the machines using the notes that he took. This whole sequence has a focus on food and confectionaries. The marketing duo are eating burgers, Bud picks up fries, and the fake Mr. House is lighting a cigarette. The only person unable to eat is Barb. The weight of knowing Vault-Tec is up to something is weighing her down. So she pulls out the picture of her family, bookending the scene. In one of Barb's eyes is the mushroom cloud, and in the other is a photo of her family. Now this billboard here is a remake of the billboard from an ongoing mod project which aims to recreate Fallout 2 in the creation engine of Fallout 4. The original art was created by game billboard artist Victor Maristain. Now we saw the original version of the poster in Season 1.
Hey person, what did you do last night?
Actually, I went out with some friends and had a few drinks.
Really? Normally drinking makes you look sleepy the next day, but today you don't look sleepy at all.
I know, I feel great. The fact is, guys, I just can't drink like I used to because the next mornings would always be terrible for me. Like on the rare occasion when I would go out, I would spend the entire next day in bed, not working, not going to the gym. That is, until I started taking ZBiotics pre-alcohol. ZBiotics is one of my all-time favorite sponsors that we work with. Even when we aren't working with them, I have a regular subscription for these every month. This is the world's first genetically engineered probiotic, and it was invented by PhD scientists to tackle those rough mornings after drinking. So here's how it works. When you drink, alcohol gets converted into a toxic byproduct in your gut. Now it's a buildup of this byproduct and not dehydration that's to blame for your rough days after drinking. Pre-alcohol produces an enzyme to break this byproduct down. Just remember to make pre-alcohol your first drink of the night, drink responsibly, and you'll feel your best tomorrow. Let me give you a recent example. Stranger Things dropped their finale on New Year's Eve, so I knew that I was going to have to wake up early on New Year's Day to watch the finale and write our ending explained video, but I still wanted to have fun ringing in the new year. So I took a ZBiotic, had some drinks, danced my ass off, and the next morning I felt great. I woke up and I wrote the video and everything turned out fine. So I personally recommend ZBiotics pre-alcohol. Go to zbiotics.com/ScreenCrush now to get 15% off your first order when you use the code ScreenCrush at checkout. Plus, it is backed by a 100% money-back guarantee, so there's no risk. Subscriptions are also available for maximum consistency. Don't forget to click our link below. You won't regret it. Now, back to what I was saying. When the Fallout logo appears, it's wearing one of the Automated Man bugs on it. Notice how the music begins menacing, but silences itself once the chime sound is heard, which represents how the device works. Now we'll see later in the episode how it puts the target in a peaceful state of mind. Back to the present, the ghoul is still stuck on that pole. He asks Dogmeat for help fetching one of his vials. Now we know from season 1 that these vials keep him sane. His seizing and growling are early signs that he is becoming feral. So I love the extras passing him by. It's a great reminder that help is not something you get a lot of in the wasteland. The ghoul was never very helpful either, so this is definitely karma. He only ever helped Lucy as a means to an end. Now there's a great transition here as he regrets not being a kinder ghoul as we cut to the flashback where Cooper is regretting his marriage to Barb.
Were you a monster back then?
Lucy wakes up in a vault-like room labeled Observation Room. This is super similar to the vaults with the vanity mirrors and the painted countryside background. Her dad has a pre-war bright yellow dress for her, so it's clear that he just wants to play pretend with Lucy like nothing happened. In the room, there's a shiny new Giddy-Up Buttercup toy. Now this horse looks like the Fallout 4 variant junk item, which could be broken down for parts in the game. There's also a box of Sugar Bombs, which is a brand of cereal that Hank nicknames Lucy after.
My little sugar bomb.
Lucy denies her father's wishes by leaving the room in her dirty clothes instead of putting on the dress. Outside, she readies herself against some Legionnaires, but they act way differently compared to the ones she ran into earlier in the season.
Beautiful day, isn't it?
Ugh, God, it gives me the creeps. So when she finds the brainwashed workers, the music imitates a ticking clock. This represents the self-made man attitude that's been instilled in these people. They move and assist each other like an assembly line or like a hive mind, like they joined Pluribus. Lucy finds Hank in a room labeled Simulation, so he quite literally wants to return to a simpler time with Lucy. Considering they're in a Vault-Tec corporate building, these rooms were probably prototypes of what vault houses would look like. Hank wants to discuss the book All Quiet on the Western Front, which is a semi-autobiographical novel about a German soldier in World War I. The book discusses the trauma from war and the detachment from human life that many veterans felt after returning home. Lucy says she found the book disturbing, and Hank agrees, but for different reasons. Knowing Lucy's character arc, she probably hated the detachment aspect, since no matter how much terrible stuff she's done in the wasteland, she manages to stay morally positive. Hank, on the other hand, says he didn't like all the senseless killing from the book. In his eyes, the soldier fought for nothing. So this gives us insight into why he was fascinated by the automated man. His solution to the endless fighting is for everyone to live in pretend ignorant bliss. So when he says,
"Some things just never change,"
we know he's always felt this way since he's referring to before the bombs dropped. So I love the duality of Hank's motivations here. It seems like he himself is also blissfully ignorant. He wants to create a world with no war and no violence, but his approach to that goal is corporate in nature. He doesn't seem to realize that the war and violence he saw before the apocalypse was brought on by corporate interests. His ideals about the working man only apply if he gets to be the one in the manager position. So when Lucy tells her father the plan, he praises her desire for justice. When he says,
"I thought the wasteland had changed you."
it clues us in on his ulterior motive. Now, when he opens the drawer for a pair of handcuffs, we can see a book on welding data. This book could be here for many reasons. Since they're in a simulated vault house, maybe the book is the kind of literature that Vault-Tec wanted the vault dwellers to read. This feeds into the working man mentality that they tried to imbue into the vault dwellers. However, if Hank put this book here, maybe he's working on upgrades to the power armor that he stole at the end of season 1. He took it off to put on this suit at the beginning of season 2, and it could still be part of his plans. Handcuffing himself is a part of his manipulation of Lucy. Regardless, it seems like Hank wants to live by Vault standards, so he's happy to return with her. It seems like he probably doesn't know about the FEV. If he did, he wouldn't send his daughter back to Vault 33 where she could be turned into a mutant. Then we catch up with Thaddeus and Maximus, when Max says,
They have trackers in these things.
This is a reference to Fallout 4, where the player can track their last used power armor. Thaddeus wants to sell the Cold Fusion relic, which becomes clear when we find out he grew up in the Boneyard. In the games, the Boneyard is the name given to the ruins of Los Angeles, within which a few small settlements were created after the bombs were dropped. Thaddeus calls Lucy good because she never had to fight or steal for her basic necessities. Max considers himself the lucky one since he still remembers what good people are like. Remember, we saw a little piece of his ideal childhood in Shady Sands before Hank blew it to smithereens. Thad says that if they trade in the relic, then they can become rich and good people, which is really just Thad falling for the propaganda. He's assuming that social status and wealth creates good people, which validates people thinking that he's bad just because he's poor. However, within the Fallout universe, this line of thinking is a little justified. People were taught that only select people were allowed into vaults, so it was a reason for some to be on their best behavior.
Hey!
The ghoul is slipping further into his frenzy. Now, this is the first time post-bomb drop that the ghoul admits that his name is Cooper Howard.
My name is Cooper.
Remembering that Janie is alive, he tries to pull himself off the pole, but fails. Now this is important to note, since the ghoul has been tearing up the wasteland in the hopes that his daughter was still alive. But right before his pole broke his landing, he got confirmation that she was, if that is, he trusts Hank's word. Cooper is rescued by a super mutant. Now the church he's brought to doesn't seem to be any of the pre-established ones in the game, but if you have any theories in the comments, let us know. Todd Howard, the game director for Fallout, said that the show would play a part in Fallout 5, so maybe this super mutant reviving the ghoul has to do with that storyline. Next, we check in with Reg's support group, which is doing even better than before. There's now a waiting line and a bouncer to deny people from the VIP entrance, so his support group has basically become like a club. Like a lot of things, as its popularity rose, so did its exclusivity. During Reg's piano dream sequence, we hear the song Uranium Fever by Elton Britt.
Uranium fever has gone and got me down.
Now this song plays on the Diamond City radio in Fallout 4. The song is about the years that followed World War II when a new gold rush took place. But this time, instead of gold, thousands of people headed to the southwest to prospect for radioactive materials. Now this fits into the show because Season 2 takes place in what was the Southwest United States. This song is analogous to Reg and his support group. These promises of riches, like uranium or fancy salted snacks, have people taking part in activities that will kill them, either by radiation or drought, respectively. When the dream sequence ends, Reg is just playing Mary Had a Little Lamb, and that's when Betty tries to break up their support group. Now Reg's speech is interesting because he begins it by arguing for freedom. He says he's giving people what they want and following in the footsteps of his ancestors who put themselves first. Unfortunately, he doesn't really know the half of it. Betty, who does know the bigger picture and the real reason they're in the vaults, is losing this argument. Now this idea also juxtaposes Thaddeus' point of view earlier. Reg and the rest of the vault dwellers should be good people because of the wealth and morals they have stored up, but they became selfish. While Vault 33 is revolting, we learn that Woody is missing from Vault 32 after his chat with the Overseer. Davey also reveals the biggest bombshell that this show has ever seen.
I don't even like checkers.
Chet learns that Steph has planned their wedding behind his back, and when he finds the poster, the song playing is Dragon in the River by Ferlin Husky, which is symbolic of Chet and Steph's relationship. Chet began the show seeking love, but now he's just being taken advantage of. Like the lyrics, "The flame of love once won my soul, now it's a spot so dark and cold." Steph is also using him as a front, like the lines, "I'm just a post of which you lean, never your love, just a go-between." Now on this corkboard, we also see flyers for multiple clubs that Lucy mentions in the first season.
The Young Pipers Association, and I dabble in riflery.
Davey lost his copy of Dean's Electronics, a skill book that teaches you about electronics throughout the games. Also, here's the funniest flyer you'll ever see in your life. Back to Cooper, the super mutant then sticks a piece of uranium in his body, which revives him. Now, the mutant mentions a war is coming, which is a deep-cut Easter egg since he reveals himself to be played by Ron Perlman. Ron Perlman voiced the opening and closing of several Fallout games. He's also Butch Harris in Fallout 1, and a newscaster in Fallout 4. His most famous line is,
War never changes.
During an interview on the Joe Volpus podcast, Perlman stated that he was paid $40 in a sandwich for his work on Fallout. He also stated that even though he had reprised his role in other Fallout games, he had not played the Fallout games at that time.
This whole Fallout thing is like a mystery to me.
Now, when multiple antagonists throughout the games were exposing people to FEV, different strains were introduced to different groups across America. So, multiple types of super mutants of various intelligence and designs exist across the wasteland. In Season 1, we saw a super mutant body being dragged across in a lab facility, so it's a high probability that the Enclave is still creating super mutants in the present day. Now, when the ghoul is knocked out, we get to see the flashback they teased us with in the last episode. Cooper and Barb argue about the ethics of what they would do to save their daughter. As they do this, behind Cooper is a painted tapestry of a lavish party going on, which echoes how Lucy woke up earlier and the simulated walls of the vaults. The couple argue about something real in front of a fake scene. So it's easy for Cooper to play the moral high ground here since Barb is with Vault Tech. But when she says, "Wouldn't you?" in regard to killing people for their daughter, she's right. We know Cooper in the future, aka the ghoul, has killed so many people and things to get to his daughter again. We're then taken to a flashback within a flashback that started this episode. In the past, Barb asked Betty for information about cold fusion, and here we learned that Barb was blackmailed into saying what she said in the Season 1 finale.
By dropping the bomb ourselves.
And the person who threatens her is Dr. Wilzig, who started this whole quest back in season 1 after escaping the Enclave. Getting back to Lucy and Hank, the brainwashed workers have serious Stockholm syndrome. They don't want to return to the wasteland. Then the chicken guy wheels out 2 new recruits, a Legion soldier and the NCR Ranger that we saw a few episodes ago. Hank uses malicious compliance to get Lucy to see the dangers of the surface.
Okie dokie, send him off as is. It's what you want.
And when the chicken guy follows the command, he lets out a happy
Okie dokie.
which we talked about in our previous breakdowns. Okie dokie has been delivered in many different ways throughout the show. It's been a while since we've heard a lighter and more positive one, but given the context, it's actually quite dark. Lucy is forced into a classic moral compromise to save the NCR Ranger. Now, we don't see what happens next, but I wonder if this forced peace is enough to sway Lucy to her dad's way of thinking. She's tried again and again to stop people from fighting, but to no avail. But her dad has literally made it as easy as pushing a button. Back earlier when Hank said,
I thought the wasteland had changed you.
most people would think that that would be a negative thing, where the wasteland would turn her savage and unmoral. But instead, the undertone of this sentiment could be that Hank thought she essentially lost that selfish savior complex that he instilled in her. Again, this ties into what Reg and Thaddeus said earlier.
Our ancestors put themselves first.
I would be a good person too if I grew up on top of a mountain of food.
Back in the past, Barb actually helps Cooper take the cold fusion from Hank. This is the same way that Wilzig carried the relic in season 1. What's interesting here is we don't know for sure whether or not Barb is on Cooper's side. I mean, there has to be a reason why he didn't get into the cryopod with her. We also know from the beginning of the episode that cold fusion going to Mr. House stressed her out. So is she taking the cold fusion because it's the right thing to do, or is she trying to stick it to Mr. House? And to finish out the episode, Dogmeat proves she's always been a good dog. When she ran off with Cooper's hat earlier, it was to convince Max and Thaddeus to follow her. She leads them to the ghoul and they immediately recognize each other from the season 1 finale.
Hey!
Now, the end credits show Bud Askin's office, so we might be learning more about him in episode 7. The song playing is Luther Played the Boogie by Johnny Cash. It begins on a pamphlet saying, "So you're thinking of having your brain removed," with a picture of Bud's Roomba body. Although this looks like a TV show only model, brains being moved in robots was a common factor throughout the games. On his desk is a copy and action figure of Grognak the Barbarian. So Grognak is a media franchise in the Fallout world, appearing in media throughout the games. We see an appearance of the TV show in the first episode of the series. Bud Askins is also a Cooper Howard fanboy, like we can tell here in season 1. And he has another Giddy Up Buttercup toy, which he probably rode around pretending to be Cooper. This plaque reads Senior Junior Vice President, which is a lot of titles. Also on his shelf is what we hope is a model of a Fat Man shell. So we pass through multiple rooms with odd titles like Research and Development for the Vaults, Door Engineering Clone Propagation, and an HR sign, which is ironic because there's gotta be a million HR violations going on in this company. And finally, there's a sign for the Vault Boy parodying Rosie the Riveter. Well guys, that's all the Easter eggs that we found, and huge shout out to Srinity Rao and Ethan Inc. who wrote this video. You can find their social links below. And if there's anything we missed, let us know in the comments, or you can at me on Twitter, Blue Sky, Threads, or on our free to join Discord server, or you can now find me on Substack. A subscription there would be really great. Thanks so much. And if it's your first time here, please subscribe, smash that bell for alerts. For ScreenCrush, I'm Ryan Airy.